welcome to SpeakUp Next. We're incredibly excited that you all joined us. We know there's many people all around the world, all around Europe, USA, Asia, many different places. So whether you're in the office, you're at home, or maybe you're even on the couch, thank you for being here. So SpeakUp Next for us is our opportunity to showcase our vision. We want to take you a little bit through where we've been, how we got here. I want to showcase some of the features that we have, and we definitely want to showcase one of our new products, which we're incredibly excited to show you. We also want to show you a little bit of a sneak peek into what you can expect from the future and take it from there. But I won't be the only one here on stage today. I'm fortunate enough to be joined by SpeakUp's very own CEO, Tim, and Margot, our product owner, and my name is Jason. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Tim onto the stage.
Hello, everyone, and I'm very excited to be here today to talk to you about SpeakUp Next and what's going on in our world. So I first thought I'd get a bit into where SpeakUp comes from as a company. And we come from the whistleblowing space, and dealing with the whistleblowing dilemma. So this all started years ago. We've been around since 2004 helping companies deal with this problem. And what started back in the day is more of a compliance, tick-the-box exercise, has really evolved quite a bit from there. Things that used to be dealt with by legal or HR, there's now dedicated ethics and compliance functions. And it's really evolved from that type of program to really about doing the right thing, thinking about the company's reputation. And even now, there's even more regulation coming into place. So you had the EU whistleblowing directive come into place a few years ago, and now you have things coming in that are also extending down into other stakeholders, such as into your supply chain. So it's really changed in that time, and we're really fortunate to have been able to serve this community for that time. So one of the interesting statistics is only 31% of individuals report on misconduct. So that means the majority are not. Yet 92% of leaders are likely to act on whistleblowing reports, which presents a challenge. You can't fix what you can't hear. And one of the things that I consistently hear is that the unseen risk is the most dangerous risk. So if people are not reporting, that does not mean things are not happening in your organization. And ultimately, this is a big thing that we think about as a company, and how do we help facilitate that? Another thing is culture just can't be managed manually these days. You have distributed companies, multiple geographies. How do you help embed that culture? Technology can be a great way to do that, but it's also empowering people throughout the organization. Leadership is demanding more and more accountability when it comes to ethics and compliance. So this can't just sit with compliance teams. It also sits with other people within the organization. Everyone is an ambassador to the ethics and compliance program. Everyone bears this responsibility and accountability within an organization. And how do we help make that a reality? And then lastly, speed and complexity is the new normal. If you think of the past 5 years, there has been a ton of change. We had a pandemic, we've had wars, we have a lot of different geopolitical events that have occurred within companies, mergers, acquisitions. It is just constant change. But with that, what do we continually hear? We hear these types of things. There's not time, we're stretched thin, we're not getting more resources, there's more regulation. And this is the trend that we see now, and all the reporting says is going to continue on forward. There's more and more to deal with. There's more regulation. There's more expected from employee populations. But what we're hearing from the business is you're not going to get more resources. You are not going to get more people. So ultimately, we're being asked to do more with less, which is a big challenge. And that challenge really goes beyond compliance, and it goes beyond just workload. It's really about how do we stay ahead, how do we remain agile, and how do we ensure everything runs smoothly. So when we think about all of this, the immediate thought is technology. Well, let's first take a step back. At SpeakUp, one of the things I'm most proud of this organization is that ethics and compliance is in our DNA. And what I mean by that is when I go to any department in the company, people know our customers. They know the challenges they have, and that really plays an impact into how do we serve this community well. You cannot just be a technology vendor and serve the compliance community well. You need to understand the problems that are dealt with, empathize with those problems, and then think of how do we help solve those problems with technology and the other ways that we support our customers. And so when we think of technology, it is really how do we improve that quality of life? And then ultimately, how do we drive that ethical change through modern compliance? So to walk you through the journey, everything really does start with the reporter. So when someone makes a report, how do we make that as frictionless as possible for them to make a report? How do we get away from long hold times? How do we get away from long forms that people just feel intimidated by when they fill out? So making it easy, whether it's on the web, on the phone, or via mobile app to make a report. Then there's you, the compliance officer. How do we make your life easier? That's how do we simplify the triage process and make that efficient? How do we make it easy for you to collaborate with other stakeholders without jumping out into email? How do you make it easy to collect evidence? How do you make it easy to manage your workflow and your processes that could be different for things such as HR or compliance matters? These are all really difficult problems that is dealt with by a small and mighty team. And then when we think about concluding cases, it's not just about writing reports and writing summaries. What happened? Why did it happen? What are we doing to deal with it? How do we ensure we have the right data retention policies? How do we redact PII? These are all big challenges that companies deal with when concluding investigations. And then finally, what is all this data telling us? How do we understand what's going on in our program? How do we report out to external stakeholders? But more importantly, how do we use this data to tell us what we need to improve on? What are the trends in our business? This is absolutely critical to running an effective program. And so when we think of this, we think of it in these stages as a full end-to-end process. It's not just a report. It's not just an investigation. It is an entire cycle, and we need to make sure that we manage that entire cycle. And then we also think of how can AI help empower that, which we'll talk more about today. So what I want to do is introduce the SpeakUp platform. And I'm introducing the SpeakUp platform because those who know us as a whistleblowing solution. And we're really evolving from here into something more holistic. And that breaks down into SpeakUp Report, which is the product that you know, although we've made a lot of improvements to that we'll talk about today. And then the new product that we're really excited to tell you about, which is a game changer for compliance teams, SpeakUp Paths. So when we think about SpeakUp Report, this is your whistleblowing tool. But we're really changing that into more misconduct reporting, because this could be anything from traditional whistleblowing, this could be a grievance, this could be something from your supply chain, it could be a data privacy request. How do we deal with those, manage those workflows effectively, and make sure that you can deal with those the way that they need to be dealt with? And then we have SpeakUp Paths, which is all those internal workflows that you think about, things like conflicts of interest declarations, gifts and hospitality approvals, registering government interactions, and a dozen more things that you probably use SharePoint, Excel, or maybe nothing to deal with today. And this can all now be dealt with in one platform. Lastly, we're going to talk a bit about AI today. And specifically, we're already the leader when it comes to using AI in ethics and compliance programs. Our customers get a ton of value on how to write summaries, to help with triage processes, redacting PII, and more. Today, we're going to introduce an exciting new product, which is our voice agent. And I won't spoil it too much, but this is going to be a game changer for compliance programs to really transform the way people report over the phone. And with that, to not spoil anything, I'm going to hand off to Jason to take you more through that product.
Thank you, Tim. As Tim mentioned, we're sort of reintroducing the SpeakUp platform today, and an important component of this is our SpeakUp Report. So it already exists today, but as we expand, as we evolve, as we have more, this becomes just one aspect of what we do. So I want to kick this off, and I want to show you a short video about SpeakUp Report and what it is. Let's watch it. And that's SpeakUp Report. So coming back to you can't fix what you can't hear. So for our SpeakUp Report is all about providing a safe, easy way for people to speak up. So whether they are on the work floor, whether they are remote, whether they have access to a laptop, or whatever language they have, that we can facilitate that in an easy way, as well as provide compliance teams with the workflows and the ways that they need to effectively move forward to find resolution. So some of the key things that we have within SpeakUp Report today is the multi-language intake. It's a centralized communication so that everyone can collaborate in one spot. They don't have to go to SharePoint. They don't have to go to an email or any other place that you might communicate. And the flexible workflows. It's totally in your hands to how you want to set it up, the stages that you see, and who needs to be involved. And then lastly, but not least, it's the detailed analytics. So you get all of this information, you know what to do with it, and you can mitigate moving forward, as well as share with key stakeholders, whether that be your board, C-level, or whoever else. But we're not stopping there. And Tim already teased us a little bit, but we have a new way of speaking up. And this is powered by our AI, Sienna. So Sienna is powering SpeakUp's AI voice agent. So on top of being able to submit your reports through a phone Dropbox, on the mobile app, or desktop, you'll now also be able to leave or have a conversation to share your report with the AI voice agent. So Sienna, our AI voice agent, guides you through a conversation. And why is this important? Because we noticed that in the past that people would leave a message, but they would leave out key details. With Sienna, she will go back and forth and she'll ask more questions to ensure that compliance teams get a full, complete report. She's fully trained on organizational policies. So if someone were to ask something a question about what does this mean for me, how can I do this, what can I expect, they can get an answer straight away. And it's available in global languages. So no matter where anyone is, what language they speak, they're able to report with Sienna. But we've done a lot of talking, and I'd love to show you a little bit more about this. So I'd love to invite our product owner, Margot van den Berg, up on the stage.
Well, thank you, Jason, for the awesome videos and the presentations, and thank you, Tim, for the whole introduction of our SpeakUp platform. It has been quite a journey, and it is one of the most exciting years for me to work in the product department of SpeakUp, because not only are we allowed to work on all these exciting problems to solve in the compliance suite, there's also these technologies that can help solve these problems. So it has been very exciting. And like you said, the first thing that I will demo, or that we will demo together, is our AI voice agent. And why did we launch an AI voice agent? We know that phone intake is very important for a lot of our customers in the compliance industry. And we also know that it can sometimes be a struggle to receive the quality intake reports. But also when it comes to call centers, we know that there's long waiting times, especially if you call in other languages. It can sometimes take very long to talk to an interpreter, and they are also not always that empathic. They follow a very strict script, and it's sometimes also not a very nice experience for the reporters. So to combine all this knowledge and with this technology available, we are launching our AI voice agent, and it's truly like a game changer for phone intake. So Jason already told she's configurable in many more languages. You can add your policies in her knowledge, so she can answer questions to your reporters. And also you can configure some of the intake questions that she will ask to follow up on. And of course, you'll receive a very quality report. But first, let's see her in action. So Jason, would you mind to leave a report with Sienna?
Welcome to SpeakUp. How can I help you?
Hi, I noticed something the other day, and I was wondering if I could leave a report here.
Absolutely. You can leave a report here. Could you please share the details of what you noticed?
Yes. On the 1st of June, I noticed that my colleague Vincent was loading the truck, and then he just drove away. He didn't do any of the safety checks.
Thank you for sharing that. So, on June 1st, you observed your colleague loading a truck and driving away without performing the required safety checks. Could you provide more context such as the location and any potential risks involved?
Of course. Yeah, this was at our Rotterdam warehouse. And I think some of the risks are that the packages could move around in the truck.
Got it. So, this incident took place at the Rotterdam warehouse, and by not conducting the safety checks, there was a risk that packages could move around in the truck. Is there anything else you think might be relevant to include?
I was curious, what happens with this report after I send it?
Once you submit the report, it'll be handled confidentially and investigated appropriately. The organization is committed to ensuring a safe and compliant work environment, so your concerns will be taken seriously. No one who reports a concern in good faith will face retaliation. Does that address your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Just to summarize, on June 1st at the Rotterdam warehouse, you observed a colleague driving away without conducting safety checks on a loaded truck, posing a risk of packages moving around. Does that sound complete, or would you like to add or change anything?
No, that's complete. That's great.
The report will be finalized, and you can check back again within a week for the status. Goodbye.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Jason. How was your experience? How was the conversation?
Incredible. I'm incredibly excited about this. I think the conversational aspect is really a game changer, because I think, asking the right questions to make sure that I give the right information helps both sides. So what happens now?
Yeah. So as a compliance officer, you of course receive an email of an incoming issue, and then you can open it from your dashboard. You will see the issue detail screen, which is not changed. But what is changed for Sienna reports is the report part. You see an AI-generated summary, which is a very good summarization of the conversation we just heard. So you see that on June 1st in the Rotterdam warehouse, there was an issue with his colleague Vincent. There was a safety issue. But in addition to the summary, you can view and listen to the whole conversation. So you can see what Sienna said, what Jason said, and of course, the reporter's voice is scrambled, so we can still guarantee the reporter's anonymity in this way of reporting.
How can I help?
You can play the whole sound file from here. And then in addition to that, you can still follow up with the reporters. Jason can call back with his unique report number and PIN code to answer any follow-up questions that I configure. So I use a reply template for the literal response. So he has his acknowledgement that we received the report, but then you can instruct Sienna to ask some follow-up questions. So I'll ask if he already reported this to his line manager. And I'll ask if he knows which route Vincent is driving, because the warehouse in Rotterdam is still quite large, so it might be easier to identify where the issue happens. So, and now my message is complete, and I'll send it. So, Jason, would you mind to call back to Sienna to kind of demonstrate the follow-up and the reporter's experience? Thank you.
Hello. You have one new message in your inbox. I'll read it out for you. Message number 1. Thank you for your message. We take all reports seriously and will review the information you provided in accordance with our internal procedures. Your confidentiality will be respected to the fullest extent possible. End of new inbox messages. Now I have a few questions that were requested by the organization. Did you already report this to your line manager?
No, I didn't.
Got it. Thank you. And could you tell me what route Vincent is driving?
Oh, I'm not entirely sure. I know he tends to go sort of south of Rotterdam.
All right. Thank you for the information. Now, is there anything else you would like to discuss or add to your report?
No, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Your report has been submitted. If you have any more information to share in the future, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thank you, Jason, for following up on the report. So as you can see, it again created an entry with a summary and the whole conversation. So this is a way you can have the conversation with the reporter and instruct Sienna to have this empathic conversation with a reporter. Well, I think this is the end of the first demonstration of our new product, the AI agent, but we have more to show. So Jason, I think you will introduce our AI paths.
Yeah. Very, very exciting addition. We already sort of covered SpeakUp Report and with new ways speaking up, being our AI voice agent, but as part of our platform, SpeakUp Paths. So once again, I'd love to show this video. Yeah, I get very excited just watching that because I know compliance officers and compliance teams, they do much more than just the whistleblowing, which we've always been doing for. So having this allows compliance teams, your organization, to another way that people can actually submit, or they can disclose, or they can ask for approvals, depending on what your policies are. So what does this mean? We have a hub that we'll be introducing. It's a multilingual submission interface. Once again, just like Report enables anyone, anywhere to be able to report, as does our paths. It's a centralized communication, so you can collaborate and share information with anyone within one spot. The flexible workflows, so you can assign workflows based on your issue type. So what does this mean? That you can actually, depending on what the use cases that you have the way that you want to navigate through them, the people you want to include, and the steps that you want to take. And of course, just like Report, we have the detailed analytics. But we want to show you because this is exciting, it's very cool, and we actually have something to show you as well. So, Margot, you want to take the floor?
Thank you, Jason, for this awesome introduction of the SpeakUp Paths addition to our platform. So, as you already said, the paths starts with the introduction of the SpeakUp Hub. This is a centralized place where your employees can interact and learn about all the compliance processes that are there. This is a place which you can configure per employee. So not every compliance journey is the same per employee. So you can decide what they will see on their compliance hub, on their SpeakUp Hub. And it is a multilingual interface, like Jason said, and it is a place where an employee can come back to see all the interactions they had, all the submissions they did. Jason, did you already thought about an example to show the SpeakUp Hub on?
I did. I started thinking a little bit more. Why don't I show you?
Okay.
So let me log in.
Go ahead.
This is my personal SpeakUp Hub, and I can see here straight away the many different submission types that we may have, whether it be export control, the gifts and entertainment, but one that we thought about was a potential conflict of interest. So an example that I'd like to use is I'm a hiring manager, I have an internship role available, and my nephew applied for it. So this is something that I want to disclose to my organization. So this is a personal relationship. They are a family member, and my nephew is called Theo. But Theo doesn't have any authority over my work. Now, because we already thought about this before, I prepared my message and I wanted to make sure that I provided the organization with as much information as possible so you guys can, have everything that you know. So this is my form, and I'll go ahead and send that. Yeah, can you maybe show us what that looks like as a compliance officer?
Of course, I will show you the rest of the system.
Brilliant.
And thank you, Jason. So, as a compliance officer, of course, you receive an email of every entry that's made by a reporter. But to zoom out a little bit more, so Jason started a submission on his SpeakUp hub, which is a fully configured path for a conflict of interest. So he has his custom form on the reporter side, which will transform in an issue type on the compliance handler side. So we will have multiple issue types here. We configured one for a conflict of interest, which has its own ID format, and then we can log into it. So what I'll do first when I receive this conflict of interest is I will generate an AI summary. It's always easy to quickly see what the report is about and if it has a high risk or not. So I see that somebody in my organization disclosed that their nephew has applied for an internship in the marketing team and they are the hiring manager. Okay, this could be a potential conflict of interest, so I'll start the process. So what I'll first do is I'll open the report and see what the reporter filled in the form. And in the activity, I can see the whole message. But what is as important is to start documenting everything that is in this, that there is to this conflict. So we will have the right administration for later. So I'll use the AI assistant to fill in the appropriate fields that we need later for statistics. So I see that we can already fill in that the conflict type is a personal relationship by with a family member and in the marketing team. And I'll save those fields. And in addition to that, I want to start the workflow for a conflict of interest. So to start with, it's very important to have a little bit on a risk assessment. So I configured a form when you navigate from the intake to the risk assessment stage. So you can document what this conflict is about. Was it disclosed proactively? Yes. What's the severity of the impact? It's low. Were policies breached? No. So I'll continue that, and then this issue form is stored in your issue. So now the stage is in risk assessment. I've read through it. I documented my first initial fields, but now I want to get Jason's manager involved because I think there can be mitigation steps to oversee that he doesn't hire his nephew immediately. So I'll create a task for his manager, Callista. So I created a task for the manager of Jason, Callista. I'll assign it to her. And I'll write her a comment. So I'll ask her if she has any solution for Jason overseeing the hiring process for the interns. I'll save it, and I'll give her a deadline. And then I can continue the next step in my workflow, which is the reviewing stage. So now I have documented most important stuff in my conflict of interest. And let me see if Callista already responded to my task. I see. She says, thank you for providing the information. I'll propose asking Monica to step in for Jason. I think this is a very good solution, so I'll tell her. Thank you for this. This sounds like a good solution. Save. And I'll mark her task as done. So it's correctly documented in the issue. So now we already decided on the mitigation steps on this conflict. So I think we can go to the final stage to close the actual report and tell Jason what he should know about his conflict of interest. So the outcome is approved with conditions, and I'll send him a closing message. So I'll send him a message that I've discussed it with his manager and that someone else will oversee the hiring process of the interns. And I'll say, yes, close. So now Jason gets an email, and he will see in his SpeakUp Hub that his reported conflict of interest is approved with conditions. And I'll also close the issue as approved with conditions, and I'll mark it as a conclusion, conflict identified but mitigation in place. So this is what a full paths journey, a compliance journey, could look like. But like we said before, this is configurable in many ways. You can define on your SpeakUp Hub the many tiles you want for your employees to start a compliance journey. It can have customized forms with questions that are relevant to your process. And then you can create a custom issue type with a custom workflow and custom fields to document all the steps in the process. So what is very important to being this now SpeakUp platform is that you can see trends and analytics. So we also have an analytics feature in which you can create all the custom graphs you need. So I created a custom dashboard, which we call a view, for a conflict on a quarterly basis. So I created graphs for conflicts by country, conflicts by type, by department, and severity of the impact. But this is customizable to any of your needs. So I think I should stop here. I can talk about our product for a very long time. I would be thrilled to show you all the things that are possible, but I think I should stop here and ask Jason back on stage. But feel free to reach out to us for a demo or for a conversation about these new features. We are more than happy to show you everything that you want to see about this the new products that we are going to launch.
Incredibly exciting stuff, and I think it's an awesome milestone, not just for us as an organization, but obviously myself, the product team, the engineering team. So I'm excited, I know you're excited, and we can't wait for people to start actually using the product and understand, the different use cases that they have, how they would configure it, and we'll continue to evolve it. So yeah, thank you for showing us.
Thank you too.
Awesome stuff. But yeah, I want to round us off just a little bit here at the end, because one of the things that we keep talking about, and Margaret's shown it, and Tim's spoken about it, is AI. Everyone's talking about it. And we do believe that this is a fundamental aspect of the compliance and ethics space and where it will be heading in the future. So once again, let's watch this little video about how we see AI within our platform. So as you can see from that video, for us, AI is not just an add-on. It's a fundamental aspect of our platform that really goes throughout the entire journey. So whether it be about making a report, whether it be about going through your investigation or even the analytics aspect of it, AI, or as we refer to it, our Sienna AI, is there to help you with it. So all of this comes back to making it easy so you can focus on what matters. And that, as a compliance officer, is making informed decisions. So with Sienna AI, we leverage it so that it's embedded into the entire process. With AI, we can empower every voice, regardless of language, location, or the way that they want to report. So that's what we've shown with the AI voice agent. And last but not least, it supercharges your entire compliance workflows. So it's taking you away from those medial tasks, the things that take time, and you can really focus on what matters. That's it for me. Thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure. And I'd love to welcome Tim back on stage to talk you through a little bit about what you can expect for the future and some sneak peeks into some of our features.
Well, thank you, Jason. Thank you, Margot. That was incredibly exciting to see. It's amazing to see the product come to life. Our product and engineering teams and the whole organization have been working so hard on this, and we're really excited to bring this out to the compliance community. The thing is, we're only just getting started. Research and development is critical to what we're doing, and we have a very, very exciting roadmap going forward. So I thought I'd talk about doing right made easy. This is our statement for a reason, is we really believe in it. And we believe in it really through two main journeys. You have the reporters. So this is an employee, this could be a vendor, this could be someone within your supply chain, anyone who needs to report something or maybe disclose something within your program. And then you have compliance teams. And really, how do we make both of their lives easier so that reporters have a frictionless experience, can easily report things, and compliance teams get their work done as effectively as possible? So when we think about this future, we think about it as effortless, intelligent experiences. And what do we mean by that? So, first start with personalized compliance journeys. So you saw a little preview of this with Paths, how we're allowing these different types and allowing things to be very specific. And we're only going to increase this. So this will be AI, but this will also be other ways that we look at the product. And if you're an employee, how do we make it easy for you to understand what you're reporting, what it is that you need to do? As a compliance officer, I think the days of static dashboards are gone. And how can the system tell you what you need to do, and how can you interact with it more natively? There's really going to be a change in interface design and how people interact with products, and we're really excited about that. Freeing you from the mundane. So we talked about this earlier, but compliance teams have a lot of work. They're stretched very thin. How do we make it easier to get rid of the tactical work, the button clicking, the Excel spreadsheets? How do we make it easier for you to do your job so that that type of work is automated, is done by AI, so you can deal with the more strategic problems and use your brain where it's most useful? And then how do we move from proactive instead of being reactive? If you even think of the language we use in a lot of these products, it's a disclosure. It's a whistleblowing report. These are things that already happened. So you're dealing with something after the fact. How do we help you be more proactive and implement programs and use the data that we have so that you can be more proactive about change in your organizations? So we think of what's on the horizon. And if you think of AI, what can that do for reporters? That can be things of, do I need to disclose something? Do I need to report something? What's the policy on this? It also could be, I'm leaving a report. How do I know that I'm giving the right information so that the company can deal with it in the most appropriate way? There's a lot of exciting things we can do on the reporter journey and just make it easier and easier for them to do that in the most effective, intuitive ways possible. We really need to be thinking in a B2B experience, but a consumer experience. These products touch every employee in a company, but not just employees. It goes beyond that. It goes into the supply chain, their vendors. It's everybody. So the bar is very high, and we need to strive for that. And we will continue to develop in this area. When we think of compliance teams, I mentioned interface design really changing. And people are going to be doing a lot more with natural language. So that could be anything from asking questions of your data. How many cases do I have between this and this date involving this person in this particular topic? You're not going to be doing pivot tables. You're not going to be creating reports. You're going to be asking questions in natural language. And that's going to go beyond things just like reporting, but really how you interact with the system more holistically. And then we have all this data. What do we do with it? And that goes beyond just taking what is one person done, but what does it actually mean? What is the context behind that? What is that telling you? So that instead of investigations taking the amount of time they take, how do we simplify that process and bring all those different data points together to give you more information so you can more quickly act on those things? That could be anything from being able to see everything, but also what is the precedent on these decisions and how do we make them more effectively? So we're very excited about what we've delivered today, but also what we're going to continue to deliver in the future. We really see ourselves pushing the compliance community forward, and we ask for you to challenge us on that as well. So in summary, we really appreciate everyone joining the SpeakUp Next event. We're really excited, and we're excited for now and the future. If any of you are interested in anything that you saw today or just speaking with us, please get in touch. Scan the QR code, speakup.com. We're really excited to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all have a great day.